Hi, we're at the Dell Women's Entrepreneur Network event in Rio in Brazil. I'm here with Tammy Camp of Camp International. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very, very well. Tammy, you have a really interesting business. Tell us a little bit about it.
Right. So I have a business called Camp International. We're a venture advisor and equity investor. And what we do is bring capital from the Middle East to invest in extraordinary technology companies.
So investors from the Middle East are putting money into tech startups?
Yes.
In the United States, and you're bridging that gap.
I am.
Now that's a business that I want to ask you, has gender or youth had a positive, negative, any impact at all on what you're trying to do?
As far as gender, surprisingly, in the Middle East, it's been great. I've been very, very receptive. And surprisingly, I've had more support there than I've had in the U.S., funny enough. So, yeah.
Great. And you're a young woman, you're dealing in the financial markets.
Yeah.
You obviously have a lot of credibility and are being taken seriously because you've raised quite a lot of money.
Yes.
Great. I'm sure there's a lot of tech investors in America very excited about that.
And entrepreneurs.
Yeah, true. So we're here in Rio at a Businesswomen's conference. What is your biggest takeaway?
Wow. My biggest takeaway is just being the inspiration here. I mean, I've met some legit businesswomen here. People that have signed my first paychecks 10 years ago when I first started my first media company or online media company 10 years ago out of my little tiny apartment in Atlanta, Georgia. Heidi Messer, she's here. So I've really got to meet her here, she's been my hero, for the past 10 years. And just being around women of that caliber and, having access to them and, being your peer and, that just having that support network has just been tremendous.
You're absolutely right. The caliber has been exceptional. These are serious businesses. We're not talking...
Oh, yeah.
It's been really good.
It's legit.
I want to ask you about something. We were catching up after the class the other day, and you said to me something about the difference between those who dream when it comes to building businesses and those who fantasize. And you have an interesting point of view. Tell us about that.
So, over the past couple of years since I've been investing, I've been looking at all sorts of companies and, trying to find that one differentiating factor of why companies fail and why they succeed. And I have a bit of a hypothesis about it. So companies that are based off of fantasy. So I think fantasies are selfish and dreams have purpose. So for instance, if you take a company like Groupon is the fastest growing company in the world. It's worth $25 billion. It's grown from 0 to 25 billion in 3 years. That's tremendous. It's on the cover of Forbes, Inc. magazine. It's everywhere. You've basically been living under a rock if you haven't heard of Groupon. However, I think it's flawed because it promotes consumption and it's not a real innovation company. So there's nothing innovative about an email marketing company, and at its core, that's what it is. So ultimately, I think Groupon's a fantasy, and it will ultimately fail.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And what about a dream? What would be a typical company that's come out of a dream?
Right. So if you look at platforms like Facebook or Twitter, I'll say Twitter, for example, because it's not worth, I think that's about a $5 billion company. Look at it. Look at the disruption it's had over with Iran, with the elections, a few years ago, that actually kept them in business. And then now with what's happening in Libya and Syria, it's actually given, it's a technology platform that has given a common man a voice. And that is true democratization of the internet, and that's a dream. It gives everybody purpose.
Right. So it's that underlying purpose of an organization that possibly leads to its longevity that in your eyes differentiates, whether it's a fantasy kind of business, which can still be a profitable, successful business, but whether it has the longevity and purpose.
It comes down to values. Is it something that's going to do have a great impact on the world, or is it something that's just going to have you consume something? So that's you really need to think about this when you're starting businesses, and that has you can look at how these businesses scale.
It's a great question. Enjoy the rest of your time here in Rio. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.